friends, I'm Katie Brinkley, and you're listening to Rocky Mountain Marketing. With nearly 2 decades helping business owners, consultants, and coaches with their digital marketing, I know that social media can be an incredible tool to grow your business when you know how to do it the right way. And that's what we're going to do today. I teach you how to navigate the world of entrepreneurship and digital marketing, and hopefully you'll grow your business with a few great tips you wouldn't have known otherwise, and maybe even discover a great local business you love. Let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Today, my guest is Roger Smith. Now, Roger recently wrote the book, The Most Unlikely Leader, An Unbelievable Journey from GED to CEO. So he is actually a former CEO of American Income Life Insurance, National Income Life Insurance, and Liberty National Life Insurance companies. His journey through life is one that truly embodies the fact that no matter how low you are in life, you can always turn things around and become anything that you set your mind to. He was the recipient of the, I'm going to mess this up, the Yitzhak Rabin Legacy Award, the Eleanor Roosevelt Human Rights Award, the Healthcare for All Champions Award, and the Solstein Award. Roger, I'm so glad that you and I were connected because I know that you are going to have some great insights to share with my listeners today. So welcome to the show.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on this show. It's an honor. Appreciate it.
And when you and I talked before we just hit record here, you were telling me some of the stories that you had through this life of like you said, going from GED to CEO. So before we dive into some of the topics that I want to talk about for today's episode, just give us a little bit of your backstory. Just tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah. So I would say like up until the time I was 14 years old, I was a pretty good kid. I got, pretty good grades, not A's, but, pretty good grades. I was the star of the junior high musical. I was in the chess club, the woodworking club. And on that summer,
I wonder if they even have that anymore.
Yeah, I know. So that summer, a switch flipped, and I just moved into this highly rebellious stage. And right at that moment, the hippie movement was just starting, and I was looking for my tribe. And and I'm sure at first it was peace, love, but I spiraled quickly. So by the time I was 15, I was a drug addict. I was a high school dropout, and I was homeless. So, prospects for a bright future did not look very high at that point. And so my book, The Most Unlikely Leader, is, talks about the perseverance, talks about overcoming obstacles and the lessons that I learned, throughout those years, to eventually becoming the CEO of, 2 or 3 of the most financially respected insurance companies in the world. So it's kind of that journey and talks about, both my failures and my successes and kind of what I've learned along the way.
Well, and Roger, I think that your story can be very relatable to many people. You, like you said, you were doing all the things, the quote unquote, the right way, and then went through this rebellion stage, and how you were able to kind of turn your life around. So I'd like to actually dive into a little bit about, because no matter where we are, like even if you didn't go through a rebellious stage,
right,
there always seems to be some sort of obstacle that we have to overcome in order to get to that next step, whether it's, let's say you're laid off and from your job, and all of a sudden, now what do you never had a plan B. You wanted to be at this company forever. That's an obstacle that you have to overcome. So let's start our conversation with how you can overcome obstacles that might be presented to you as you're navigating through this whole, journey called entrepreneurship.
Right. So, first of all, I think that you got to start off with with the philosophy, if it was easy, everybody would have it. So if you are looking for something that means something, it's going to be hard. Start off with that premise. The second thing is that I believe, how we're told, or we've told other people, don't ever burn your bridges. Mm-hmm. I actually have the complete opposite philosophy. I say burn every damn one of them. And I say this, and I'm not saying like burn your relationship unless you want to, but what I'm saying is that we all hit these obstacles, what we feel are insurmountable obstacles. And actually, the problem with like plan Bs or escape hatches is that when we hit this wall, the temptation to do a plan B or to have an escape hatch, if this doesn't work, I'll do this. The problem is we end up giving up on our dreams because the temptation is too easy to do. I'll do this. But if you burn those bridges, if you've got no place behind you to go, and the only place that you can go is forward, it is really amazing, Katie, how creative you get with perseverance to either get over the wall, through the wall, around the wall, but you find your way over that obstacle. And interesting enough, when you look back, you're just sitting there going, okay, well, that was a bump in the road, but you're still moving forward towards that dream that you have.
Well, and I think that it was actually, I saw something on social media the other night, and they were talking about how there's certain things that pop up in our lives, and it's always setting us up actually for success. It might not seem like it at the time, like I was saying before, so for me, it was when I got laid off from what I thought was my dream job. I had a great boss. I had great perks. I loved what I did. But if I hadn't been laid off, I would have never started this business. And
correct.
And it's certain things where it seems like it might be a giant bump in the road or a giant well, what's going to happen now? How could this happen to me? It's setting you up for better things to come.
Big believer in that, Katie. Big believer. I really do. And you just got to have faith. You just got to have faith in yourself and just keep moving forward, for sure.
So you were able to overcome a lot of obstacles. Like you said, you kind of went down this rebellious path and really kind of did not set yourself up for success. What happened for you that made you want to shift and take back control of your life, and leading you to become CEO of some of the largest, like you said, largest insurance companies in the world?
Yeah. So I had a couple things that happened. First of all, I was very, very fortunate to have some great mentors. And I'll tell you, Katie, I'm a big believer in multiple mentors. It's like, and it's almost like it's our responsibility to be open, because people want to help other people. So my stepfather brought me into the business. And so he became my mentor as far as selling and how to close and how to run an insurance agency. And so he became my mentor. The founder of the company, Bernard Rappaport, taught me about social injustice, and if you're going to take out of the community, you put back into the community, and about patience and about looking for the best in people. And then my third mentor, Mark McAndrew, who taught me this first thing that I wish I had known early on. And he said, Roger, nothing's as good as it seems, and nothing's as bad as it seems. And I sat there and went, okay. So, and he said, listen, when you're at one of those highs, you're going to hit a wall. An obstacle's going to happen, and you're going to fall. And when you're in one of your lows, this too shall pass. And if you kind of think of it that way, then your life isn't just these big highs and lows. It starts to even out a little bit. And because I was the type of leader at that time who would try to put out fires all the time, He said, listen, just respond to situations, don't react. And so he was able to teach me some really, really powerful things. And if you add all those things together, I think it's what made me the leader that I became. But the leader I started off being, man, I don't know how anybody followed me. I don't. I mean, I grew up under when you want to motivate somebody, you use emotion, right? But if it's negative, you still use emotion. So I'd be shouting at people and stuff. And it's like I said, I don't know how anybody followed me until I learned that you can motivate in a positive with emotion and then use data when you have to deal negatively with somebody. But I didn't understand that.
I love that we're taking the conversation in this direction, because I'm also a big believer in mentors, coaches, people that specialize in helping you level up. I'm not saying that everyone needs to go out there and hire a life coach or whatever. I mean, maybe you do, but I do think that there's different parts of our business where you can use a coach for, whether it's 3 months or a year or multiple years. There's always someone there pushing you to be the best version of yourself. So let's talk about leadership and having these people, these mentors that really can help us take our business, take our leadership skills to that next level. What are some of the 4 characteristics that you look for in a quality leader?
So I think the number one responsibility of a leader is that they're visionary. They see further than the people that they're leading. And it's almost like I tell leaders, I say, listen, if you're not spending an hour or 2 out of your day daydreaming, thinking of what you can do to make your business better, you're not doing your job. So leaders are visionary. Second is they have influence, Katie. And you get influence by really 2 ways. One is that you have to get results. So if I'm asking you to follow me and I'm not getting results, then why are you going to follow me? You're going to follow me because I've shown you that I can get results and then teach you how to get results. But the second part of that is that you really need to know that I care about you, and not that I care about you because it makes me look good, but I care about you. I care about your family. I genuinely care about your success. And so if I can get results and I care about you, then you're going to follow my vision, right? The third thing is you got to have strong systems. You have to have systems that stand up, that even if you're taken out of the picture, that your systems are standing up alone. And then the fourth thing is that you have to be willing to inspect your system. So if you set up a system and you're not willing to inspect it, don't bother. And I think what happens for leaders is that they get fearful that their people are going to say, well, wait, you don't trust me? It's like your kids say, wait, you don't trust me? And the answer is, yeah, I trust you, but I put in a system and I want to make sure it's working. And therefore, I'm going to take the time because I care about you to inspect the system and make sure that it's working the way I want to.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, if you follow those 4 kind of rules as a leader, then you're going to be able to create a vision and lead people through that vision where everybody wins in the situation.
And I think that that's one of the best skills as a leader too, is being a good listener. Listening to what other people are saying is something that I'm teaching, or is there something in the process that it might be really easy for me, but maybe it's there's a cog in the machine, and it's not translating well. and being able to look back on yourself and say, okay, maybe I need to rethink how I'm approaching this topic so that other people can embrace it. Because, what do you mean this is difficult? It's just do this and then do A and B will happen. But there might be some sort of thing that's just not clicking for the people that you're instructing or that you're working with. So with leadership, it can be something that a lot of people kind of back their way into or have a hard time embracing. And let's say somebody's listening right now and they're saying, hey, I just wanted to start my own business. I'm really good at electrical. So I decided to start my own electric company. But all this other stuff that comes with it has kind of made me a little bit think differently about how I'm actually growing this business. Is this something I want to do? Because I never expected to actually be leading people. So what words of advice would you have on really embracing leadership for people who might never thought they'd be a leader?
So, I think that there's many different places that you end up leading people, whether it's in your family, your church, your whatever. There are places that you end up leading people. So, all those things that we were talking about applies to that as well as the business. So, if they're doing that in their personal life, then you're just taking that and now applying it to your business. I will tell you that there's a point where in your business where a light bulb comes on and you're just going, I can't do this by myself. And the answer is yes, you got it. Finally, you can't do it by yourself. You have got to delegate it out. The more you can delegate and inspect, the bigger you'll grow, the better it'll be. So Roger, I think when that light bulb goes,
it's so true. I had the light bulb moment about 2.5 years ago when I was, because I was doing it all. I was from all of the actual client work to editing this podcast. I was doing everything. And could I do it? Absolutely. But was it the best use of my time? And that's where you have to, exactly with what you're saying, you have to go in and say, like, where is my time really the best spent? And there was things that I thought was it's only taking me a half an hour to go ahead and edit the podcast. But honestly, if I had that half an hour back and I was working on client work, or if I was doing some ads for a client, that's bringing in more revenue. So how much would it cost for me to delegate out editing the podcast?
Yeah. What happens is, so when you're starting a business, right, you're told, listen, you better be ready to be the cook, the waiter, the dishwasher. You're doing it all. And so we kind of get that into our mind as, okay, well, I'm going to do it all. Well, that's for a short period of time, because your goal should be finding people that can help you reach your goal. And the more people you find, the bigger you get, the more you can duplicate, all of those things. So yeah. Well, if you're in that trap, boy, you need to get out of that really quick.
Well, and that I'm actually glad again that we're moving into this part of the conversation, because you are all the things. I was doing the social media. I was doing the editing. I was booking the calls. I was doing the sales. And that was one of the parts that I had one of the biggest struggles with was selling. And because I felt bad asking people for their money. I mean, when I started with social media, it wasn't a job. It was, hey, I can help you with your MySpace page. If you give me some free concert tickets, let's do a trade. But social media has evolved tremendously since, the days of MySpace. And so it was really hard for me with being the salesperson as I started my business. So and I'm sure that I'm not alone with a lot of entrepreneurs, is like, oh, well, I'm really good at X. But selling, I never really went to business school or learned the art of the sale. Why don't you talk to us just a little bit about the art of the sale for people who might be struggling with that part of their business right now?
Okay. And so let me start off by telling you that I was by far the worst salesperson. So, they teach you that, all right, you give your presentation, you get ready to give the close, you give a closing question, hopefully an assumptive closing question, and you shut up. Right. And then the first person who speaks is going to be the buyer. Right. And so you just shut up. And that may take 30 seconds. It could take 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I was so scared of the close that the back of my neck would start to shake. And I literally thought people thought I was having a seizure. I mean, that is how bad I was at this. It ended up that at the end of the year, I was the number one salesperson. But that doesn't take away that I was so frightened in the very beginning. And what happened was that because I knew I wasn't good at it, I also understood that I'm going to have to work harder than anybody else at it. So when other people were giving 3 presentations in a day, I was giving 7, 8, 9 presentations in a day. In the mornings, I would practice my presentation. Even though I was about to give 8 presentations a day, I was still practicing it in the mornings so that I could get through, all the way to the close and feel confident about it. So the first thing that I would say to you is that, you really have to start with just a strong belief system. And you really have to check yourself for the belief system. Because I was working for a company, I had to go, okay, number one, do I believe in myself? Am I capable of doing this? Which I didn't have a clue at that time whether I was or I wasn't, but other people thought I was. And so they believed in me more than I believed in me.
Well, and Roger, I want to stop you. I want to stop you really fast right there because it's so true. Sometimes we are our own biggest obstacle, and the self-belief, the mindset work, that is something that I also struggled with, and it's shocking, honestly, because I grew up playing sports. I mean, it's like softball. I walked into the batter's box, and I needed to believe that I could hit the ball.
Right.
The pitcher had to believe that they would strike me out. And it's all mindset. And it comes into that self-belief. And somehow along the way, as we turn into adults, we get these beliefs that, well, I can't do this. But that's again, coming back to mentors and quality leadership, having people that are in place that believe in you and what sometimes you might not even believe in. If there's people that are out there that are setting you up for success, there's a reason why.
Right. They see it. And so then the second part is that, you got to believe in the product that you're selling, right? It's like, okay, I can believe in myself, but if I'm not quite sure about the product, am I really going to be able to convey it, right?
Yeah.
Do I believe in the leadership of the company? Do I believe in the company? I mean, those are all key things. And the problem when we go out and start selling is if we have cracks in any of these, then those cracks in that foundation just grows wider and wider and wider. So, how, like I said, it's your responsibility to be on the lookout for mentors and something. Well, it's also your responsibility to shore up your belief system. It's not somebody else's, it's yours. If you have a question about the product you're about to sell, then talk to somebody and find out, wait, okay, I'm not sure how this works in this market with this competition. Get those answers so that you feel strong when you're going out there and you have the belief system that you need to have in all aspects of it. It's really, really important, for at least the start.
Absolutely. Because if you don't believe in the product, it's going to show that, well, I might just be selling you something that might not actually work. I think about, what is it? The guy that sells the the flex glue. I don't know. He's out there in the middle of that boat that's made that he made out of like glass with like all these using it. Now there's a guy that believes in the product. I mean, he's out in the middle of a lake on this boat made out of glue. So I mean, you have to believe in the product because there's a crack. It will show. Well, you're
and the more you believe, the more confidence you have, the more passionate you are about that. I've had people that I, teaching how to sell, and I said, hey, listen, you really need to get a little bit more animated about it, because if you're not conveying how much you like the product, believe in the product, why are they supposed to believe it?
Absolutely.
It's up to you. And I get it. Listen, it may not fit right in your personality, but I can tell you this. There's nothing I've done in my career that fit naturally. I wasn't a natural born salesperson. I wasn't a natural born leader. I wasn't a natural born CEO. If anything, the opposite. So, because it doesn't feel comfortable, well, get comfortable. Do it enough that you get comfortable, that you feel confident that you can do what you need to do. That's how you overcome those things.
Well, Roger, this has been an awesome conversation. I absolutely loved having you on the show today. Talk to us where we can find your book and where we can learn a little bit more about you.
Okay, so my book, The Most Unlikely Leader, An Unbelievable Journey from GED to CEO, you can find it on Amazon. You can go onto my website, rogersmith.me. That's rogersmith.me. And my bio's on there. You can order my book from the website. All my social media is on there.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Katie. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate it.
For those of you that are interested in building more business, I invite you all to Social Profit Lab, which is going to be February 21st through 24th, 2023. I've brought together over 40 speakers, giving you the insights and the education into that one small thing in your business that could have massive results. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Make sure to subscribe so that you can continue navigating the world of entrepreneurship. And I'd love to hear from you. Please leave the show a review and connect with me on social media. You can find me on Instagram at I am Katie Brinkley, or connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you're ready to start making some sales on social media, be sure to grab my free guide to selling in the DMs without being spammy. You can get that at katiebrinkley.com. Let's keep taking your marketing to all new heights.